Hi, and welcome to class session 4. Let's go ahead and take a look at today's agenda. We are going to discuss the assignments due, new assignments, the math project, the new topic on conceptual understanding, and as a reminder, next class session 5, will be live at CSU Pueblo on February 16th from 5 o'clock to 7:50. So please make sure you are there and you've marked that on your calendar. Here are the assignments that were due. Please review this and make sure that you've completed everything. New assignments, weekly reading of Hudson and Miller's Chapter 4, and you'll be taking a quiz on Chapter 4. Also continue skimming Section 2, as there will be a quiz coming up about this shortly. Submit your draft of your conceptual lesson plan. You should get plenty of information about conceptual lesson plans within this Chapter 4, as well as from this video. And last but not least is the 2 discussion boards, the effects of video-based and applied problems, and Ashlock's percent and proportions project. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the math project specifically. There are several sections of this, and I'm going to kind of go over each one of them a little bit more in detail. If you read through this and listen to this on this video and you still have questions or concerns, feel free to call me or email anytime, and I'd be happy to help you because I know all of us have different and unique situations. Section 1, you must select 2 students. I highly recommend you select 2 students that are in the same classroom because it'll make your life a lot easier. One has to be on an IEP and one can be without. Provide me background information. I don't necessarily want demographic information about the student. I really just need information such as things they're interested in, preferences, grade level, how they've done in math in the past, etc. Just give me some information on this kiddo's past, which might indicate needs or how you will change your lesson plans, etc. for the future. So please include all of that. I must say right now that everything needs to be confidential. You can label your students student A, student B, you can take off last names. Just make sure that you are not giving me full information about these kids because I know these are real kids, but you don't need to share that with me. Your work samples that you will turn in, please black out any of their names, things like that. Let's keep it very private for them. Section 2, assessment plan and work samples. Your assessment plan can be set up in a variety of different ways. I think the best way to do it is to set it up like I do here as a table. It makes it very easy to go through and read what was given to who, what was the date, who was the person who gave the assessment, and what were the results. All that I really expect to see, this is an example, but what I expect is all of what is stated here. What the assessment is, the student, the date, the person who administered, and what the results actually indicated. You must back this up with work samples. So if you gave a test, please provide me a copy of what that test looked like. If you assessed their homework, please just attach a copy of their homework, etc. It's pretty simple. For example, the one that I gave here is I gave Susie a criterion for math, and it showed to me that she was at 20% mastery on that assessment. 40% of the assessment was instructional and 40% was frustrational. I then expanded it and did little bullet points down here that gave a little bit more information on those 2 areas, such as she is instructional with adding and subtracting with regrouping, etc. With the frustrational, she has issues with multiplication, division, etc. So I kind of know where I need to go instructionally and what things really frustrate the student. That helps me out to know where I need to go as far as setting goals and lesson plans. I could do Thomas, where I gave him the Ames Web MCAP, and I noticed that he scored a 4. At this point of the year in a benchmark, a 4 puts him at the 10th percentile. Clearly, the student is significantly behind his peers when it comes to that assessment. Looking at that assessment and determining what I need to do to get that student caught up with concepts and applications. So next is the section 3, developing goals and objectives. In class session 2, I gave you a handout that included information on how to write SMART goals. I highly recommend that you use this in order to write goals for yourself. If your goals are not measurable, if they are not well written, you will not get any points for this section, period. So I need it to be very clear as to what you are expecting your students to do. So for example, a good goal could be by May 2011, Thomas will add and subtract with regrouping with at least 80% accuracy using Ames Web math probes. Or by May 2011, Susie will find the perimeter of a given regular quadrilateral with at least 80% accuracy using Saxon math remediation worksheets, etc. I just want to know who, how it's going to happen, with what, by when, etc. You can even go in and say even within a certain setting how this is going to be achieved. That is fine by me. The next section is section 4. This is where you're going to plan and collaborate on instructions of 5 different types of lessons. Keep in mind that you have to have these 5 lessons and they have to have certain components within these lessons. taught to your students. Within any of the 5 lessons, you must include application of co-instruction, technology, peer-mediated instruction, teacher-constructed, or adapted materials. You can have a lesson that has multiple of these, but minimally you have to have at least one of those in one of the lesson plans that you show me. Next is also you must have at least one lesson that addresses conceptual skills, procedural strategy, declarative math knowledge, and problem solving. Obviously, you have 5 lesson plans, so one of those can include dual activities, like you can have something that's conceptual and procedural, etc. Next is section 5. This is review of progress and next steps. Review of progress is just what, after giving them the lessons, how did they progress? Have they kind of met their goal, or are they still progressing on their goal, etc.? Then, what are your next steps? Do you think you need to give more instruction? Do you think that was enough instruction, etc.? You need to really lay this out for me exactly what that is. So technically, this is 2 separate reflections, and I expect to see a great write-up on both. Last but not least is references, and you must reference for me using APA format. Period. If it's not an APA format, you will not get any points on your reference page. So please, if you use Saxon Math, reference it. If you use Touch Math, reference it. Whatever you use, please make sure that you inform me of what it is. The password for this session is, are you ready? The word manipulatives. Please send this to me via email. New topics. In this concept, or in this new topic, we are talking about conceptual understanding. And conceptual understanding is critical to success in math performance, both in and outside of school. Conceptual understanding means that students understand the meaning behind rote learning and understands the meaning of the procedures used to obtain answers to math problems. It also means that students recognize math relationships and connections. This in-depth understanding of math enhances a student's ability to generalize their skills to new settings and new skills. The concrete representation abstract instruction is a teaching sequence which is an excellent way to teach many math concepts. In addition to use this sequence, a variety of other factors must be taken into consideration when planning instruction designed to teach mathematic concepts. Including among these are prerequisite knowledge, appropriate methodology, which is the structure of what you're teaching in the concepts, oral language, and various modes of representation. Instruction that attends to these factors is integrated into the explicit teaching sequence that we were talked about in Chapter 1 and really will give you a high level of that conceptual understanding. And this will serve students well throughout not only school, but in their future. Please make sure that you looked over the concrete representational abstract instruction. This is very important. What that really looks like, how we use dramatization, how we use manipulatives, hands-on opportunities, verbal descriptions, student demonstrations, visual representations such as drawings, etc. One of the best things that I have found to really help students get to where they need to be is obviously having that dramatization, acting something out, getting the kids up and about and actually hands-on do it really makes for a very good understanding and have that to be concrete for them. Making sure and looking at page 69 on applications, noting relationships, transformations, and transfers is another way of promoting that conceptual understanding. What are the steps? As we just mentioned, the prerequisite, the structure, the oral language, the various modes. Keep it in mind the various modes is really important because that's when you make that real-world connection. Okay? One of the other parts of the book talks heavily, and you'll notice this not only in this chapter, but in the next few chapters, how to use advanced organizers, do the I do, you do, we do method when modeling, maximizing their engagement and providing them support while they're working, and then monitoring this and making sure that students are getting it before you just keep moving forward. You got to take that time. Keep in mind those phases of explicit teaching. With this, you will have all of the strategies that you need to teach somebody when you are working on something that's conceptual in the area of math. And this will lead to them being able to solve problems on their own. Graduate project timeline. Just as a reminder, please check the graduate timeline. This is where your group should be about as we are in week 4. So make sure you are right about where you need to be with this. And once again, if you have any questions or any final thoughts for me, as always, give me a call. Let me know. I'd be happy to help. And we'll see you guys next week. Take care.